Hey everybody, Jason Vermis here, and we have the documents. So, I've been asking, where are these 10,000 pages? Why have they not been released? The judge was supposed to rule on them quite some time ago. We got the 2,000 plus pages months ago. Will they ever see the light of day? And as you know, I also did a video on Dershowitz and his court appearance on the 5th of December, but that was actually in regards to Maria Farmer. So thank you for my audience for getting me that Law 360 article. We'll probably do an in-depth video on that as well. But here we are in the defamation case between Virginia Giuffre Roberts and Virginia Maxwell. All right? Or I'm sorry, Virginia Maxwell. I called her Virginia Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm sorry. I apologize. Man, huge error there. So, take a look at this. Everybody's trying to focus on the salacious details. Sex-obsessed Epstein had 6-foot portrait of nude Ghislaine Maxwell with legs wide open in underage pool at area ranch. Now, don't get me wrong. We've talked about that, and there's the pool, and that's supposedly, I believe, where the portrait was supposed to be. There's a fertility room. There were supposedly nude pictures all around here. We've covered this stuff. But what really needs to be covered is the documentation, the court dockets, and this is over at courtlistener.com where you can find the actual dockets. So props to Big Fish, who you may have caught in my 24 videos in 24 hours that actually ended up being 26. He was the first live broadcast at midnight, and he put me on to the December 5th document. And then yesterday, 3 more documents were released, and I'm glad they were because they shed a little bit more light on this December 5th document. So let's get right into it because, again, we do the real deal here. We look at everything, we read it to you, we let you make your own discernment. And what you're seeing here is what we had. I believe this is on the 5th. Okay, so this is the first one. And what you're really seeing is an attempt to keep the documents sealed, saying that they are not judicial documents. So actually, right here, in the first paragraph of her brief, plaintiff asserts that documents submitted with a motion are unquestionably judicial documents by virtue have been submitted to the court. Now, they are saying that that claim is wrong. Again, they're fighting this every legal way to keep them out and saying that in the case of a dismissal or an adjudication, the public does not have a right to these documents. All right? Who cares about the public interest? All right? It's because there's so much public interest, they should still be kept secret. And by the way, Ghislaine Maxwell sent a sealed letter to the judge, which we're going to find out in the counter motions that are put out there, which apparently the plaintiff's attorneys still have not seen, and only the judge had seen. All right? So they're saying in order to constitute a judicial document, a filed document must be both relevant to an actual exercise of judicial authority and be useful in the exercise of that judicial action. Filings that do not meet both these requirements are not judicial documents. They're literally trying to change the language so they don't have to release these 10,000 pages. All right? Period. So they're citing their cases and explaining their rationale. And if you keep going on, and that is so precisely because as a result of litigation's affirmative decision to moot the motion via negotiated settlement, so in other words, they're saying if we get a negotiated settlement, then there's no reason to put these things out. All right? Here we go. In other words, particularly when evaluating whether to unseal filings relating to unadjudicated motions after a case has been settled, a filing made in connection with such an unadjudication and unadjudicable motion is irrelevant to the judicial function and neither played. Now, there's a lot of legalese here. But what they're saying is even after the fact, they have to be ruled on if they come to an agreement. But again, they're trying to get an agreement where they'll never be released, period. See, right here, and that is so precisely because unsealing such documents vindicates no public interest. There's no public interest in these documents according to the lawyers, guys. So, if unsealing presently sealed documents filed in connection with unadjudicated and unadjudicable motions does not serve any public interest in monitoring courts and their determination of litigants' substantive rights, what legitimate public interest does it serve? None. All right. So let's go to some of the responses here. All right. And I believe that this is yes. So here's the response to the motion to unseal Maxwell's December documents. All right, and that one was on the 12th. This here is on the 5th. So 1 week apart, guys. 1 week apart. All right. And as you can see, that these are opposing lawyers here. It has come to the intervener's attention that defendant Ghislaine Maxwell has transmitted a letter to the court and to the plaintiff's counsel under seal without any notice of the filing on the court's docket and without notice to interveners. Probably why it took so long for us to figure out this information. So she sent the judge a letter under seal. Obviously, throughout this, what you're going to see is that should be unsealed and that everything they're asking for needs to be unsealed. Okay? Notice of a filing under seal must be entered on the docket to afford the public an opportunity to contest the sealing of that document. A lot of legalese, but a lot of shady stuff going on. All right? Maxwell's failure to notify the public of her submission under seal is made more egregious by the fact that Maxwell did not even notify interveners, a party to this litigation, that the letter was sent to the court and opposing counsel. Thus, interveners respectfully request that the court docket the filing of Maxwell's letter. All right? So there were other attachments. They're trying to get this into the public record. Now, let's get to here. All right, another Holland and Knight document here. And I believe this is where we're talking about John Doe. Interveners respectfully submit this response to John Doe's and Ghislaine Maxwell's letters to the court regarding the treatment of undecided motions as judicial documents. J. Doe's filing emphasizes, and in fact heavily relies on the fact that the mere filing to a paper of document with the court is insufficient to render that paper a judicial document subject to the right of public access. Filing alone does not make a document a judicial document, but the filing of that document that is relevant to the performance of the judicial function and useful in the judicial process is sufficient to render that filing a judicial document, okay? So again, we're going to wait on it, but more and more arguing whether or not these pending documents are coming out, all right? And plaintiff Virginia Giuffre responds to the defendant Ghislaine Maxwell's seal letter to response paragraph 3. So they're responding and saying, you know, what are you talking about? The media does have an interest in this case. All of these documents should be unsealed. So here we are, guys. We're midway through December, and we're still getting the runaround on these documents. We've got to keep at it, man. And John Doe, at least one of them anyway, because apparently we're going to see hundreds more names, is also intervening with Ghislaine Maxwell with no regard to the law. But we shouldn't worry, right? She's going to do an interview. She's going to tell us it's all right. She's going to tell her side of the story. We should ignore all the reports that she's been in touch with Prince Andrew throughout the scandal heating up, and even Andrew's own admission that they were talking in the summertime before Epstein being picked up. The fix isn't in. 2 cameras didn't fail. Epstein's brother didn't say that Epstein himself told him that he was attacked by Nicholas Tartiglione. None of that happened. None of it happened. In fact, most of these women are probably liars, right? I mean, Epstein himself said that he wasn't a pedophile. He was an offender. That's like the difference, I believe it was between robbing a bank or killing someone and someone who stole a bagel. Yeah. So I'm going to keep following it. I want to give big props to @TreyBillion for showing me that the documents were in there. You can go check out courtlistener.com for all the dockets on all these cases and see whether they're available or not. Remember, some of them you do have to buy on Pacer, and some of them, in fact, the majority of them are still sealed. But we're going to try to get them, guys. I promise. I'm a documentary filmmaker. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture are my films. Thumbs this video up, share it with others, join the Burmese Brigade. If you're new to the channel, if you want to stay up to date on the real Epstein information that's out there, the documents that are out there, and what we can find out from them. I was checking out my Conor McGregor stuff because Dana White was finally asked on camera about the allegations, and once again whitewashed them, so there's a video coming up on that. And it was by the author of the person that had the Yahoo article that I went over yesterday, if you haven't seen that video. So, Kevin Iole, come on, man. It's shameful the way you were butting around. That's not journalism, man. You know damn well he whitewashed that, and I'm going to go over that as well later because we do it 3 to 7 times a day here. You can also check out my 24 videos, which is really 26 in 24 hours, in the 24 in 24 playlist for some really interesting interviews. I believe it was about 20 interviews. Financially support me if you like this stuff. I give away everything for free. I'm not asking you to buy a DVD. I'm giving you all the films right here, right now. All the videos free, no bonus content, no Patreon, no Subscribe Star. It's all here. So if you like me, $5, $10, $15, it means the world to me. I absolutely love you, and I will see you all on the flip side.